Hey everyone, welcome back to the Start Virtual podcast, where we share real stories, strategies, and hard earned lessons from building a virtual assistant and bookkeeping business from scratch. I'm Daryl, and of course, we have here the face and the brain of our bookkeeping team, none other than Tony. Hey, Tony.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to episode 2.
Perfect. Today's episode is going to hit home for a lot of business owners out there.
For sure.
Because, we're going to tell them the story of how we decided to focus on one specific niche.
Yes, definitely. Focusing on a specific niche for your business is going to help you to be able to become an expert for that industry. And that's really important, especially when you're providing a service. So let's go ahead and get started and just tell everybody. First, Daryl, how did you, all the way in the Philippines, learn about working for real estate investors in the US?
100%. So as I shared on our last episode, when we first started, I had a small virtual assistant agency and we just had one goal back then. So, just get clients, as many clients as we can, any clients, all clients, whoever was willing to pay to hire a virtual assistant or back then a telemarketer. And so we tried to serve them all. And, for a while, it felt like we were winning. We had a full calendar. Everyone's busy, but they weren't staying long enough. That's the problem. It was hard to scale back then. Every client had different problems, tools, different systems, different expectations. And we were constantly trying to please everyone.
Right.
That was a disaster because we don't have a structure. We don't have an actual operating procedure. We're a mess. Marketing even was vague and difficult and super challenging. It was hard to scale because we didn't really have any foundation to scale from. And that's when we realized that everyone is not a target market. Mm-hmm. So it was killing us. We weren't experts and we were just hustling to stay afloat. So that's how chaotic it was when we first started prior to Start Virtual. And then I met our founding member and Cody, basically, and they were experts in the real estate industry. That's where
was that your first introduction into the real estate industry?
Yeah. Well, as I mentioned, I was a virtual assistant before for one of them, and I supplied some virtual assistants to our founding member before, and that's how we grew it as well. And that's where we had the idea of starting our own virtual assistant service business. So, considering that their expertise and their knowledge and the exposure that they had is on the real estate field, and that's also, I would say, it's our common ground because I was an EA and a VA before for a lot of real estate investors on the side. So,
right.
So that's when we decided that this is the direction we should go, and this is where we can really focus all of our efforts because we all know about this industry and we know and we believe in what value it can add to other business owners like us.
Right.
So how about you? How did the whole idea of focusing on the real estate for bookkeeping started?
So it actually kind of just fell in my lap. So I have an accounting background, have a bachelor's degree in accounting, and I've been working in the accounting industry since 2002.
Right.
So one of my last jobs where I was working in office, when I was looking for a new job at that time, I was, looking through the ZipRecruiter was the app I was on.
No way.
And I saw that somebody was hiring for an executive assistant here locally to where I live. And I was reading the description and there was a lot of accounting language in there. I've never been an executive assistant. I didn't manage calendars or none of that, but I know accounting. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to apply to this and I can learn all the calendar stuff. I mean, that's pretty simple. So I applied to the job and I was contacted by the owner's virtual assistant. At that time, I had no idea what a virtual assistant was. Right. So I was so used to the whole corporate, come into the office for an interview, meet with the owners, things like that. So when I was contacted by the virtual assistant and she gave me the name of the business, right away I Googled it and I'm looking for an actual location. Nothing was coming up. And so then she let me know that he wanted to have the job interview at Starbucks. And so immediately I thought in my head, this is a scam, so, and it was already working. So it wasn't like I really... Yes, it wasn't like I needed the job. I just wanted to change. So I almost didn't even show up to the interview just because I assumed it was a scam because I had never heard of that whole process. I decided to go anyway. I took my lunch break and I went to Starbucks and I met with, at the time, it was the owner of Wholesaling Inc. And so I got hired on the spot. I gave my job a 2-week notice, and then I started working for the owner of Wholesaling Inc. And it was a remote job. So this was in 2019, like before the whole, COVID and work from home thing became a popular thing. And so it was my first work from home job. I was so, it was strange to me to have nobody micromanaging me and just being at home. And so through the owner of Wholesaling Inc., I met Pace Morby. He had invited a group of coaches here to Florida, and I organized the whole event for him, set up their little excursions and whatever they were gonna do during the weekend that they were here. And so I met Pace in person. This was in October of 2019. And, we talked a little bit. I told him I had a bookkeeping business on the side. Because when I left my W-2 job to work for the owner of Wholesaling Inc., I actually made my former employer my first bookkeeping client. So at the same time, I started my my bookkeeping business when I left, and they needed me to help train the person that was taking my spot. So I decided to make them my first client, and they outsourced to me to make sure that the new person was getting acclimated in their role. Because typically what happens in an accounting role, the accountant is the only one that knows all of the functions. Nobody else wants to learn it. And then some of the people that I met while I was working there I was working at a resort that they had. It was a boarding school for young athletes into tennis and golf. So one of the tennis coaches approached me about doing bookkeeping for her personal business she had on the side. Long story short, once I was introduced to Pace, and he knew that I had a bookkeeping service already, about 6 months later, he got his first Airbnb, and he was still in the beginning stages of forming the whole Sub-2 community. So he got his first Airbnb. He had somebody managing the Airbnb. And then he knew that I did bookkeeping, so he called me and he's like, hey, I just got this new Airbnb. I'm still growing the Sub-2 community. I don't have time to worry about, the ins and the outs and if everything's being handled. And so he asked me to do the bookkeeping for that. So he paired me up with his property manager for that. I took over the bookkeeping for him. And then once I started doing his bookkeeping, that's when he introduced me to Cody and was like, hey, Cody, I have somebody that can come in and help us with everything that we're doing. Because at the time, they were doing a whole bunch of fix and flips, because you were behind the scenes of that, and some wholesaling and buy and holds and things like that. So I started doing the books for Cody. Then Pace introduced me to a couple other people in Arizona. So next thing I know, I'm completely full with clients to the point where I'm turning people down.
Right.
But again, if I knew back then what I know now about delegating and having virtual assistants, I would have been able to grow something really important and huge at that time. But at the time, I just had no idea. I thought if you owned a business, that you had to work in the business and that business was your life. And a lot of business owners are stuck in that phase right now.
And niching down really is the best decision that we ever made, I would say. And it's a good thing that when we started Start Virtual, that was already the direction that we all agreed to do, because for one, we wanted to be the best in what we're doing, right? And you can't be the best service provider if you don't really understand what made you successful and how you will be able to address the challenges that will come your way. And if you're serving a lot of different masters at a time, different industries, it's really hard to keep track of all of that, right? And document what worked, what the flow should be, and what the processes should be. So when we decided to start with one of their real estate investor friends, we basically made our structure, our SOPs, and our business processes out of that. Of course, we had to make some changes, some adjustments, as we learn something new, and you will definitely learn more as you continue to operate. And that's what made it really easy, because we were able to develop a training outline or course outline and all the training materials easily, because we're just focusing in one specific subject or topic. And that is, when we were starting, appointment setting for real estate. And that's something that is very in demand back then, because
definitely
all real estate investors are really, hoping to close as many deals as they can.
The real estate market was so hot back then.
It was. 100%. And the growth was really fast because of that. And it was easier to troubleshoot if there are challenges because you're focused in one specific niche. If I may ask you, Tony, how do you think can a business owner identify the right customer avatar or customer for their business so that they can, focus all their efforts in just one niche, the best fit for their business as well?
I think it all boils down to what you're interested in and what you're passionate about, and also where the clients are. So back with bookkeeping and, the whole real estate market being so hot at that point, just like you guys were having huge success with the whole lead generation and appointment setting, that many investors needed bookkeeping as well. And by the time I started doing the books for Pace and Cody, I was really intrigued by the whole process. They were going in and out of flips within 45 to 60 days. And I'm like, wow, this is amazing. And I also had a background of accounting and construction. So it was all easy for me to tie together because I already worked in construction accounting and I loved it. I loved the whole fast pace of it, seeing something from the beginning to the end. All of the project completion phases and all of that. So I think it just boils down to find something that you're interested in, find something you're passionate about, and try to start there. And I always tell people that are, asking me questions like this, how, a lot of people that want to start their own bookkeeping business, how did you find clients? What can I do? So I always tell people, join Facebook groups where your ideal clients hang out, because in there is where you're going to find people that they're going to need your services. You don't have to go in there and just be all salesy or anything. But one thing that you can do is comment on people's posts where people are going to start to notice you. And if you have your Facebook page built out properly, to where when people start to notice you and then they click on you and then they see the services you provide, the value you provide, the people that are in your network, people are they're gonna gravitate towards you and they're gonna trust you. Just like a lot of people, they still refer to me as Pace's bookkeeper. So they think, if I'm doing bookkeeping for Pace and Pace trusts me with that financial task, then why wouldn't they trust me with that as well?
100%. Joining these communities with like-minded individuals, you will learn a lot of the shortcuts even.
Right.
And how they're able to, address challenges that they face, that they experience. You'll learn a lot from best practices as well. And at the same time, it'll give you an idea as to what is in demand right now. Where should I focus? Where are more people successful right now? Same as with our clients, for example, our real estate investor clients who are focused on, say, appointment setting or lead generation, right? They also have to figure out which target markets are, bringing in more potential for closed deals. And normally when you join these networking events, these Facebook groups, these communities, that's where you're getting an idea of what's working right now in terms of strategy, area, location, target market, what to offer, what creative type of offers can you come up with to try to close as many deals as you can. And that's what we are actually very good at here at Start Virtual in terms of suggesting or recommending what works for other clients. Since we have a CSM, as we discussed on the last podcast that we have, our clients success managers are the ones who are sharing some useful information that work for their other clients, since they're shared resources, right?
Yeah, for sure.
They learn from it, they try it out, and then sometimes they even do joint ventures, right? Where they get to partner up and close more deals, since
we have a lot of those on the bookkeeping side too.
A lot.
That can get tricky in bookkeeping. It's all fun on the front end, but once it comes to the books, it can get a little tricky.
That's the thing. That's where you guys are expert at, making it easier.
For sure. Yes, definitely.
So I totally agree. It has to start with you. You yourself has that interest as well on working with those type of clients. That's really where you want to focus, and you basically surround yourself with the right people.
Right. So let me ask you, because I've been curious too. So when somebody's sources, let's say I'm a real estate investor and, I'm trying to get my first deal, or I'm just trying to get myself out there in the real estate market. And if I come to you for somebody to help me with that, like what is the ideal client virtual assistant relationship look like for that?
So, well, definitely, when you pick options basically for a new, especially if they're really green in the industry and they're starting with real estate, for example, or hiring a virtual assistant, even you cannot choose someone who's also new in the industry to be partnered or matched with them. It has to be someone who's already tenured, someone who's already experienced and seasoned in the industry, and who's already shown great performance. We have a lot of tenured virtual assistants on standby that we match with newer clients, so we can expect a higher success rate. Normally, we choose people who already has experience as lead manager, or who help or work directly and closely with their clients before in securing those deals. So yeah, you have to basically choose the right match. At the end of the day, the client still has the opportunity to choose because we will be giving them some options. But of course, if they're new in the industry, we want to make sure that they will continuously strive and have a virtual assistant that they can depend on. So it's important that we choose the right VA who has experience, plus partner it up with a client success manager who's also been very successful in in the industry and at the same time was able to help new real estate investors as well. And yeah, that's the game changer there. If you have the right team to support you and you guys learn from each other, and we always recommend as early as during the point of sale or during the, as we call it, the discovery call, our sales expert George normally recommends that they have to really learn more about the industry. He invites them to join some of our groups as well, or pages in Facebook, so that they'd have an idea and they'd learn from like-minded individuals as well.
That's awesome. And that's similar with bookkeeping too. When we get a new bookkeeping client, because even though in the beginning we were mainly promoting to real estate investors and their businesses, a lot of times real estate investors, before they get into real estate, they already have existing businesses. So we were able to take on bookkeeping for their existing businesses, which some of them had like home health care.
Right.
One of them had a gym that he owned. We have, service-based business owners that are providing chiropractic services, things like that. But the one thing about bookkeeping for real estate investors is that when you do bookkeeping for real estate, that's a whole different animal. So if you can navigate through that and successfully complete a full bookkeeping cycle for a real estate investor, everything else is it just comes natural, because with real estate investing, not only, especially if you're doing fix and flip, not only do we have to get everything in the right category, record the income and expenses and your assets and liabilities, but we also have to record income and expenses per property. So that's why if you are a real estate investor and you are doing fix and flips and you don't have a bookkeeper yet, I highly, highly recommend to get a bookkeeper ASAP, because I've seen it so many times where we onboard a real estate investor that's already done 6 flips in the last year, no bookkeeping, no record keeping, nothing. And then we onboard them with a bookkeeper. And then we have all of these questions, like when we see the Home Depot transactions or the appliance purchases, we have to ask you questions like, which property did this go to? And trying to remember things from 12 months ago when you've been through 6 flips, it's very stressful for the client. Yes, it's stressful for the client, but it's not something that we can't navigate through. It's just the sooner you can get a bookkeeper, the better it's going to be for you. Less headaches, less stress, and more timely and accurate financials.
And also, just to add, if they're new in the business, well, definitely they need that help on the bookkeeping side. Plus, what's good about us really focusing on the real estate industry is that we've already learned what the best tools or systems are that we can, we definitely give recommendations, especially during our onboarding phase, because the whole client journey here in SAR Virtual is seamless, and we make it as easy as possible for our clients so that they don't have to figure it out on their own. Our onboarding team here will definitely assist with even tool setup, suggest which tools or systems are working for most of our clients in here, where they can get some leads even. And we're really confident about our training. So our
Yes.
training
We
team
have
is
excellent training.
they're definitely taking their training seriously, and we only hire, and you'll be surprised, we only hire like 1 to 2% of our applicants.
And I don't
A
think a
lot
lot
of
of people understand that. Sometimes when I'm
Right.
talking about the bookkeeping services and Start Virtual and what we provide, I think a lot of people just have this misconception that we're just finding people on Upwork and like, oh, hey, you want a job? Come on, let's go. I got a client for you. But we really have an extensive recruitment and training process, and
100%.
even more so for the bookkeeping side, because we're dealing with clients' financial information over there. And we've got some really, really great, talented bookkeepers. I know we've had bookkeepers that worked in the auditing for the Philippine government. We have
Right.
bookkeepers that are actually CPA certified in the
Yes.
Philippines. They're very smart, very talented. And sometimes when I present an issue and ask for some solutions, like they just blow me away with some of the spreadsheets that they can create like in an instant. It's just amazing. Like, I'm really happy that we do have that recruitment and training process, because it takes a lot off of my plate, and I'm sure your plate as well, because we have less turnover. People have a strong SOP guideline to know what's expected of them, and then we can have happy clients because we're providing an exceptional service.
100%. And yeah, we don't just stop there. I mean, we continuously upscale our virtual assistants as well, especially when there are new things that we figure out, that we find out from our other clients as well, or from Pace or Cody,
Yeah.
that works best for other clients. So that's what's good about that. Like that you are in good hands because you're working with people who knows what they're doing, and we definitely make sure that we only choose qualified people they can trust. And if anything goes wrong, we're here for them. We don't have to worry about any of the dramas, of
For
hiring
sure.
someone, because we have our HR team, we have our quality and compliance team, we even have our IT team if they're having some issues with their tools and stuff. I think
That's
one of
awesome.
the
Yeah. And a
issues.
lot of our bookkeeping clients, they have my personal cell phone number. So they know that they can reach out to
Yes.
me at any time. And I also host the monthly client Zoom for all of our bookkeeping clients. So I really like that, because it's an opportunity for all of our clients to get together once a month and ask those high-level questions that I can assist them with. And it's also an opportunity for them to give us any feedback that they're experiencing with their bookkeeping team, whether it's good or bad. Usually it's good, and we take that information and we share that with our bookkeeping team, and they really love hearing the positive feedback. I think it really boosts their morale, and it gives them more motivation to do an even better job.
Then. So yeah, this is amazing. So if you're a service provider or you're a business owner and you're feeling stuck right now, I want to ask, who are your best clients, and what industry do you think you should be focusing more on? What tasks or services or results do you want to be known for as a business provider, or as a business owner? And if you're ready to talk about and consult Start Virtual about potential need for a virtual assistant or a bookkeeper, you know how to reach us. Go to our website, startvirtual.com, and you can schedule a discovery call with us.
That would be amazing. We love getting new bookkeeping clients. We have so many satisfied clients, and I want you to be the next one.
Let's celebrate wins with you soon. And stay tuned for our next episode. We are going to discuss scaling without losing quality and how we build systems that work. So
Yes.
we will provide tactical systems advice for growing service.
Ooh, we should bring Janet on for this episode. She's our
We
process
will.
queen.
And Justin as well from our
Yes,
virtual
great
assistant.
idea. Yes,
yes,
we'll bring our own
expect the
team
four
to
of
share
us.
with you the processes that work for us.
This is exciting. You'll definitely
Yes.
learn a lot from this, so do not miss it. Thanks, Tony.
Bye, everybody.